What happens when romanticizing your personal style meets the reality of your actual lifestyle? Let's discuss. Hi guys, I'm Alana. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking a little bit deeper about personal style and this creative tension that happens when your personal aesthetic meets the actual current reality of the life that you are living right now. Also, if you love style content like this, if you're interested in diving a little bit deeper, I'd love to have you along and subscribe to the channel. For me, the biggest obstacle to my personal style has genuinely been, how do I make it match the practicality of my lifestyle? A lot of people can relate to that as well, just the frustration. This is where a lot of us get stuck because we tend to have this really black and white, all or nothing approach. So it's either got to be practical or it's got to be stylish, and it cannot be both. If you think, for example, about the capsule wardrobe approach and the traditional way of finding versatile, practical pieces that work for your lifestyle. I've got the t-shirts, I've got the jeans, I've got the very, very basic black, white, grey. And then suddenly you start to feel so bored and your style is not personal. It's very practical probably, and things mix and match well together probably, but it's missing and it's lacking the element of me. Anybody can put together jeans and a t-shirt. This is one of the boredom traps that we can get sucked into, purely basing our wardrobe on what is practical for my lifestyle. On the other hand, if you lean too much into the rosy tinted glasses of what would my fantasy self wear, you can quickly find yourself with an absolutely impractical wardrobe, nothing to wear on an everyday basis. So how do we keep both of these things in mind and start to combine them and meld them together? And no, it's not just as simple as I'm going to put on a jeans and t-shirt with my favorite pair of heels, because that still might not be your style, that still might not be practical. How do we blend these two elements together in a way that is considered and intentional and doesn't just seem like slap bang? Let's talk about the reality aspect first, okay? Because we all have constraints in our wardrobe. Even the women that we think of as impeccably dressed, even those women have to choose one outfit to put onto their body for a day. You cannot wear all of your clothes at the same time. We all have the constraints of what is the weather actually doing today. The way that we start to peel away from the frustration of the all or nothing mindset is by leaning in. And this is the phrase for me that has been a game changer. So how do we lean into the practicality without completely losing our sense of self? Each of us with our personal lifestyles, we all have a completely different version of what practical means to us. We can kind of break that down into the aspects and the elements of, say, fabric composition, silhouette, cut, structure, washability, comfort, and quality here as well. Something like jeans are going to be more practical as a fabric than something like, a silk pair of trousers. But if we break down practicality into these kind of aspects, it starts to become less of like the boring way of looking at your wardrobe and more creatively pushing yourself to choose things intelligently that will work for your lifestyle, maybe not for somebody else's. Start to think about it as leaning into a more practical version. It's not the only element that we're considering, and there's another way and another lens that we can bring on, which I'm going to talk about right now. This is the other end of the spectrum, and that's romanticizing your wardrobe. Everyone romanticizes their style to some extent, and everybody has a fantasy version of themselves that they look to for style inspiration and style guidance. I think it can be really helpful to define your personal style to some extent. I know that the 3 style word method is very popular. Either way, just choose a few adjectives which you feel define your style, and they don't have to make any sense according to each other. They might be very, very different and reflect different aspects of yourself. But having that definition to some extent is going to help you in terms of how do I match that with the practicality of my lifestyle. Because you can put together the words as far as, say, one of your words is soft or romantic. You can put that together with the practicality of, say, jeans and t-shirt. So you might look in Pinterest as far as romantic jeans t-shirt and see what comes up for you. And from there you can just refine. You can refine the colors that suit you, the fabrics that suit you. You can refine the structure that you prefer. Start with define and then you refine from there. For me, I can think of 3 different ways that we can romanticize our wardrobe. Romanticizing your body shape or size. This might not necessarily be something that you do consciously, but the media that we consume is going to usually spit you out a very particular body type, and that may be somewhat different than how you actually look in your life. And while I believe that there are definitely, shapes and silhouettes that flatter certain body types, I do think that you should just wear what you feel great in. So romanticizing your body shape or size might not be what your body looks like, and that might be why there's the discrepancy between it looks great on her, but why does it not fit or feel the same way on me? So the way that we can work around this romanticization of a different body shape or a different body size to ours, choosing to consume media that is showing you body positivity, and by choosing to cultivate your own self-confidence and self-body positivity, you start to rearrange the outfits that you see on other people and think about, how would I wear that for me and my body? I have heard someone talk about, say, for example, training the Pinterest algorithm to feed you body types and women that look like you. What have I? And so that's something that you can spend time doing if you would prefer to do that, so that then at least when you're looking at an outfit, you're seeing it on somebody who has a similar shape or similar body lines to you, and that can help you get more of an idea of the fabrics that drape beautifully on that kind of body, or the shapes that look best on that body. But personally, I genuinely love some outfits that are so unflattering. A lot of, say, Japanese fashion, for example, people just look like they're wearing these oversized bags, and they look great in my opinion. I love that kind of style. So it's not all about the body shape and the silhouette, it's just something to keep in mind. Moving on to the next way of romanticizing, you can romanticize your aesthetic. This is really one of the traps I think that we can easily fall into, which is romanticizing, say, a French girl aesthetic, but you just don't have that lifestyle. The old money aesthetic, but they're all wearing white and you have children and you don't want to be covered in stains head to toe. And again, this is where leaning in comes into play. And so that might look like choosing one piece that's old money for your look. So you combine the practical elements with the items that speak more to your aesthetic. You can also use the 2x2 method here, where you choose 2 items which are practical and 2 items which fit into the aesthetic that you're going for. Or you might choose 2 different aspects. So it might be comfort and the quality are the aspects of the practical, and then you might choose the silhouette and the fabrication, which match to the aesthetic that you're trying to achieve. If you want to learn more about this sort of 2x2 idea, Sina from Use Less did a video about this, which I'll link below as well. Another way that we can romanticize, honestly, is romanticizing our budget. Oh my god. It's like having the Bottega taste, but the Amazon budget, I feel like we can all relate to that a little bit. So what do you do when you have expensive taste buds, but you don't have the budget to stretch to fill your wardrobe with all of those expensive items? There's a few different ways that we can work around this. Obviously, most high street brands are taking their nods and their cues from fashion houses that are higher up on the design chain. And so a lot of the time you can find, sort of dupes or items which are having the same inspiration, the same taste inspiration, but at a lower price point. I also recommend, if you have your eyes on a specific item which is of a higher price point, you can often find them secondhand for fractions of the price. And also we have this mindset, obviously, of buy less, buy well, or buy once and buy well. And this can be actually possibly disappointing and possibly frustrating, especially if you are someone who loves to have, say, a lot of choice in your wardrobe. It does take a little bit of training and a little bit of patience to build a wardrobe. I recently heard on the Sustain This podcast that they recommend spending between 5 to 7 years building up your wardrobe. Oh, for somebody who's so impatient like me, it's like that is a huge reality check. But you know what? It gives you more of a step back and a broader look into, okay, I just need patience. This is going to take time. I'm living in the instant coffee mindset of the society that we're in now, and it encourages consumption. And honestly, our human tiny brains are not wired to contain this much stuff. We're not wired to be able to maintain a wardrobe of 500 items. It's just too much decision fatigue. So we really need to sort of peel back the layers a little bit of what we want versus what would actually work really beautifully for our actual lifestyle. Also, so when we're willing to own less and be intentional with our buying, we can also be extremely ruthless with what we're choosing to allow into our space. That's when we start to use our budget wisely. I guess get the most out of our wardrobe. There is this sort of reality check that happens when we see something online and it's so desirable and it's so the thing that we want. And then it comes into our life and suddenly it's just ordinary clothes. Am I still going to love this in 5 years' time when everybody else has forgotten that it was the trendy or the it item? With every relationship, including the relationship with your clothes, there is that honeymoon phase. And the honeymoon phase might genuinely be the phase that you spend, looking and lusting after it online. And it either becomes part of your comfy everyday style and you still love it and you still wear it, you still take care of it years later. Or, it's not so shiny anymore and the love lessens over time. But expecting every new item to be the love of your life, that's just not realistic. Having said that, I think compromising every single time that you go shopping is the fastest way to kill your personal style. Just looking for the dupe of everything in order to just save money, you're never going to be satisfied with something that isn't exactly perfect and exactly right for you. And I think that everybody who has impeccable style, all the women whose style you admire, I can guarantee you that they have something, if not many things in their wardrobe, which they consider to be utterly impractical, but absolutely nonetheless would never part with. The impractical love of your life items, they can sometimes be the things which make or break your personal style. But if we have a wardrobe that is just filled with impractical, frou-frou dresses or going out clothes or statement pieces, it's never going to match our lifestyle. There's no escaping the fantasy self. But I think she can be a very, very useful tool in moving your style more towards a more personal version of it, possibly, and also helping you move beyond the basic and boring outfits. Hopefully this video has been helpful, or at least has fired off some neurons and got you thinking a little bit differently about your wardrobe. Let me know what is your absolute favorite piece that you have in your wardrobe right now, whether that is practical or completely impractical. I'd love to know. And I'll see you very shortly in my next one. Bye.